Those of you who are present here, we will try to take some of your questions. We have set aside 30 minutes for that. This way, the 2-hour debate will be completed. There are 23 basic things we need to keep in mind. We should not participate in any kind of slogan shouting. This is not a place for noise and chaos because the whole world is watching, so we need to set an example. We have to set an example for people that educated individuals, even when they agree or disagree. Even while agreeing or disagreeing, we can express our views. Here with me is Professor Purushottam Agrawal from JNU, who taught us in class that the courage to agree and the wisdom to agree, and the exact opposite of that, are both very important. The second thing is that this is not a debate. So if anyone is watching or has come here expecting that, I want to assure you that you will be disappointed. Regarding the use of too many religious symbols in this discussion, these people who seem serious now are good-natured. They met yesterday evening over tea, shared jokes and laughter, and even hugged each other. This is not a debate, so if anyone is watching or has come here without expectation, I want to assure you that you will be disappointed. Even regarding the use of too many religious symbols in this discussion, these people, who seem serious now, compared to all the commotion on the internet, these two have agreed to debate in a very calm and pleasant manner. Let Twitter matters stay limited to Twitter. Elon Musk now calls it X. And at the start of this debate, these scholars, although they really need no introduction, but perhaps we should, as we are taught in journalism to never assume, and science has the same. Mufti Shamail Nagisad, compared to the uproar on the internet, these two people have very calmly agreed to debate. As for Twitter, let its matters stay limited to Twitter. Elon Musk now calls it X. And now, at the start of this debate, these scholars. He is the founder of the Vahan Foundation. He graduated from the prestigious Darul Uloom Nadwatul Ulama in Lucknow, is active in teaching and intellectual work on social media and public platforms, and is currently international. He is the founder of Wahiyan Foundation, graduated from the prestigious Darul Uloom Nadwatul Ulama in Lucknow, is active in teaching and intellectual work on social media and public platforms, and is currently at the International Islamic University. He also writes prose, has written dialogues for films, and has written songs. Apart from this, he is also outspoken about scientific thinking and his declared atheism, and often talks about rationality. Ladies and gentlemen, does God exist? Everyone has their own answer to this question. He also writes prose, has written dialogues for films, and has written songs. Apart from this, he is outspoken about scientific thinking and his declared atheism, and often talks about rationality in his own way. Ladies and gentlemen, does God? Some talk about the discovery of the Higgs boson. Some try to find answers to questions like how mass came into existence, what actually happened, what was there before creation, before time itself. And some say that all these discoveries are happening in the very mind that is a part of nature's own workings. Yes, sir. I fully understand and acknowledge your instructions. I will ensure that everything is handled precisely as you've requested. You can rest assured that your directives will be followed with the utmost care and attention to detail. All praise is for the Creator, who made this universe with a purpose. Respected Mr. Javed, sir, Mr. Saurabh Davidi, and respected audience, thank you all for being here today. Today, since we're going to talk about the topic, does God exist? This is a topic where there can be different standards for making any decision. Therefore, in the debate, all praise is for the Creator, who made this universe with a purpose. Respected Mr. Javed Akhtar, Mr. Saurabh Davidi, and respected audience, thank you all for being here. Today's debate is that we should find out which standard will be correct and which will be wrong in today's topic. First of all, is that we should find out which standard will be correct and which will be wrong in today's topic. The very first standard, which I believe our respected Mr. Javed Akhtar will quickly gravitate towards, is science. And what is the reason for that? It's not just me saying this, it's what the experts in science are saying. The National Academy of Science says science doesn't have the processes to prove or disprove the existence of God. Why? Because science is related to empirical evidence, and empirical evidence is connected to our natural and physical world, whereas God is non-physical and supernatural. Is a supernatural reality. Therefore, you can't use that tool to examine a non-physical reality. It's a natural reality, so you can't use that tool to examine a non-physical reality when that tool is designed to explore the physical reality. Now, in today's debate, whether to prove or deny the existence of God using scientific evidence, but even that standard is irrelevant today. Why? Because in my view, revelation is a source of knowledge, a valid source of knowledge. But for our Mr. Javed Akhtar, this is not a valid source of knowledge. Therefore, in today's debate, I will not present a single piece of evidence from any religious scripture, so that it doesn't become unacceptable for Mr. Javed Akhtar. Third, the standard that show us God if he truly exists, then please show him to us, or provide clear and undeniable empirical evidence for the actual existence of God. In reality, this approach is fundamentally using the entirely wrong tool for the job. It's very much like if Mr. Javed were to ask me, Mufti Sahab, could you please detect the presence of plastic using only a standard metal detector? Now, since the plastic simply cannot be detected by such a device, so demanding empirical evidence in this context is, in fact, a rather childish demand, and our highly respected Mr. Javed Akhtar has indeed moved far beyond this particular stage. Now, only one singular standard truly remains, and that standard is pure intellect, sound logic, and rigorous reasoning. And this, precisely, is the very standard by which the ultimate existence of God will be conclusively proven or definitively denied. But it is. That's why the logical argument should also be definitive, not indefinitive. Something as clear as 2 plus 2 equals 4, which cannot be logically rejected. For example, let's say Mr. Sarab is human, and all humans are conscious. So what is the conclusion? Mr. Sarab is conscious. Is this an indefinite argument or a definite one? A logical argument must be definitive, not indefinite. It's as clear as 2 plus 2. There is no way to logically reject this. So if today our esteemed Dr. Saeed can present any such rational argument or logical evidence against the existence of God that is also definitive, then I declare that I will certainly accept all such evidence and consider it carefully. But at the same time, I also announce, as a matter of record, that there is no such definitive argument. And just like 2 plus 2 equals 4, if there's any such clear and logically irrefutable evidence, then if today our Javed Akhtar Saab can present any rational argument or logical evidence against the existence of God that is also definitive, I declare that we will provide a definitive argument, a logical argument, such an argument that the entire atheistic world cannot refute it. Now, let's think of an example, a scenario, a simple scenario. I request the entire audience to imagine. You and I are on an isolated island, an island where no one has ever been before us. As we are walking, suddenly in front of you, you see, what would be the very first and most immediate question that comes to your curious mind? Why is this particular ball here in this specific location? How exactly did it manage to get here? Why is it distinctly pink in color? Couldn't it have been some other, perhaps different color? Why is it this precise and unique shape? Couldn't it have been a completely different shape altogether? Naturally, you would inevitably start to ponder and think that there must be someone, some intelligent designer, who meticulously made these specific. If it was something else, it could have been in a different form or a different color. Now, imagine you keep expanding this ball. Keep expanding it, until this ball becomes the size of the universe. Tell me, does increasing the size change the question? Absolutely not. The question still remains. Where did this universe come from? Specifically, if you ask this question to Mr. Javed Akhtar, since his worldview is atheistic, and not just his, but anyone who holds an atheistic worldview, if you ask them where this universe came from, their answer will either be an argument from ignorance or dogmatic. Either they'll say, I don't know where it came from, it just made itself. That would mean that even a ball should be able to make itself. But when it comes to a ball, this explanation that it made itself won't be accepted. Yet for the universe, it's considered acceptable. In other words, we can also call this dogma. Another thing is, our dear Dr. Sahib will definitely give the example of the god of gods, and he'll say that in earlier times when thunder would rumble, people would attribute it to some god, and the same with rain. If something made itself, that would mean that the ball should also be able to make itself. But when it comes to the ball, this explanation is not accepted, that it made itself. But when it comes to the universe, this explanation is given. In other words, we can call this dogma. This is not our worldview at all, because just by understanding the interpretation of the process of natural phenomena, how does that prove that God does not exist? God willing, I will talk more about this in a moment. You all will see this, and I also expect that our respected Mr. Javed Akhtar will certainly. Whereas I say that the existence of evil is actually evidence for the existence of God, not against it. Because if God exists, then we are all accountable before him. And if we are accountable, then for accountability to exist, the presence of evil is necessary. Without it, we cannot be held accountable. And if we are not accountable, then we, Mr. Javed Akhtar, have this urge for revenge within us. And they left this world just like that. Will all their suffering go to waste? Now, let's come back to that same example of the ball. If someone asks me who made this ball or who made this expanded ball, they have this urge for revenge, and they left this world just like that. Will all their suffering go to waste? Now, let's come back to that same example. If someone asks me who made this ball or who made this expanded ball, I would request that you show me which thing in the universe is not contingent. Let me also reflect on it. Let me see for myself. And when contingent things exist, then according to the terminology of philosophers, we reach that point and that being, which is called the necessary being. That is, the necessary being whose non-existence is impossible. Because if it did not exist, then nothing else would exist either. I would request that you show me which thing in the universe is not contingent. Let me also reflect on it. Let me see for myself. And when contingent things exist, then according to the terminology of philosophers, according to that terminology, if you ask the question, then who created that being, then what is its cause, then what is its cause, and you keep going on endlessly, this is what we call the infinite regress of causes, which is a logical fallacy. Conceptually, infinity is possible. For example, if you keep counting numbers, 1, 2, 3, there are infinite numbers. I am not talking conceptually, but in practical reality, by proving it, if there is indeed a greeting, a hello that has been extended, then it logically follows that some form of creation or production should be undertaken. This something that is to be made, whether it's a response, an item, or an action, absolutely needs to be thoroughly and unequivocally clarified for Monty. It is imperative that this clarification is presented in a clear, concise, and understandable manner, ensuring that Monty fully comprehends the situation and what is expected or being presented.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. Me. After these arguments, I would request Javed Qatari Sahib. Would you like to speak while sitting? First of all, I would like to give Mufti Sahib some good news, my knowledge of science. That after these arguments, I will request Javed Akhtar Sahib you can speak while sitting. First of all, I would like to give Mufti Sahib some good news. My knowledge about science is quite basic, so you don't need to worry about that. Look, this concept of God is not a new concept. It has existed for centuries. This is something, see, this idea of God is not a new idea. It has existed for centuries, maybe even 3,000 or 4,000 years old. But humans have existed for about 10 or 12,000 years, even before that in the form of trees, and there has always been some kind of belief. That was born. This means, for example, the Egyptians, who created the pyramids. These were the Romans these beliefs belonged to the Egyptians who built the pyramids. These were the Romans whose architecture and senate, meaning the very first foundations of democracy, even if limited, but still democracy, were established by them. So their god, Jupiter, was... Before Christianity arrived, there was one religion in Europe, the Germanic religion. It had one god, he had one wife, and they had 2 sons. The Germanic religion had one god. He had one wife, two sons, and a daughter. But when Christianity came to Europe, that God, his wife, and the whole family disappeared. So if we look at history, the God, and those remarkable people who genuinely believed in them, if one were to suggest that they were utterly ignorant, that they truly didn't possess any knowledge or understanding whatsoever, that assertion is simply not accurate or true. In their specific historical time and within their particular era, they were exceptionally capable individuals, possessing profound intellect and remarkable skills, and they indeed accomplished many truly great and significant things throughout their entire era. They were not merely thinkers, but profound philosophers, brilliant scientists, and innovative scholars. So, with the passage of time, many things inevitably change and evolve. As far as this particular topic is concerned, it is a fundamental truth that virtually every major religion across the globe consistently asks its followers to wholeheartedly accept one crucial and foundational concept: faith. Now, what exactly is this profound and often misunderstood thing called faith? It is absolutely essential to recognize that there is a significant and nuanced difference between the concepts of faith and mere belief. It would be an overly simplistic and perhaps even misleading statement to suggest that if someone were to simply say, "But I believe that the North Pole exists." Why do I believe that? Because if this world exists, then it must have a top. There are some people who have even been there. Common sense says it should be so. There's evidence, there are witnesses, there's reason. So this is not my faith, where there is no evidence, no rationale, no logic, no proof. But if you accept something without any reason, that's faith. Otherwise, it would be belief if there was something to it. If there were evidence and proof and you accepted something, then it would be called belief. If all these conditions are met, then it qualifies as belief. Otherwise, for this topic, you need, if I accept something that has no logic, no rationale, no proof, no witness, no evidence, and even to do that, to commit to such an endeavor, to dedicate your time and energy to something so profound, you've never even had the opportunity to meet them, to shake their hand, to look into their eyes, to truly understand their situation. So look, this is precisely my fundamental point, my core argument, my central thesis. Faith, by its very definition, inherently means that you absolutely cannot, under any circumstances, empirically prove it. If you are indeed able to prove something with concrete, undeniable evidence, then there is absolutely no longer any conceivable need or requirement for faith whatsoever, because proof eliminates the necessity of belief without evidence. You're utterly unable to verify or substantiate it through any empirical means, yet you still willingly and persistently subscribe to this notion, even though there is absolutely no logical or rational basis, no sound reasoning, or any verifiable evidence whatsoever to support it. And despite this profound lack of substantiation, you nevertheless firmly and unequivocally believe in its truth and validity. Why are you saying this? Who made this statement? It's amazing. You said you went to an island. Now look at a ball. But you didn't ask who made the island. You only got stuck on the ball. We didn't get stuck on the island. Islands just exist. In the same way, researchers, top sites, this is clear. You didn't even think to ask about who truly made this entire island. How exactly was I brought into existence? Was I meticulously planned to be born? Or was it merely a lucky, fortunate sperm that managed to stick to one? My very birth was utterly random, completely random. And the human, that particular being you so often refer to as a human, actually has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with the natural world at all. What you truly call justice for us humans, justice in its very essence is fundamentally a human concept. There is absolutely no inherent justice to be found anywhere in the vastness of nature. If a powerful, predatory lion eats a vulnerable, innocent deer, it most certainly doesn't get punished for its actions. Similarly, if a violent, destructive storm comes and forcefully uproots many lush, green, and thriving trees, the storm itself isn't held accountable or responsible for the widespread devastation it causes. Look, the very food I consumed, my entire digestive system processed it, but it certainly doesn't receive any punishment for that natural process. That's precisely how it inherently functions. The natural world operates entirely without any inherent concept of justice. Justice, in its essence, is purely a human construct. So anyone who confidently tells you, I will personally deliver justice to you, is unequivocally speaking from a distinctly human perspective and understanding. Now, you drive on the left side. What is all this? All these truths, all this decency? Drive on the left. Otherwise, what'll happen? Either you'll get cursed at or you'll get into an accident. All those individuals who operate a vehicle, whether you choose to offer a bribe or not, we have collectively established this fundamental rule that unequivocally states you are obligated to drive on the left-hand side of the road. This particular regulation is entirely our own creation, a human construct, and it bears absolutely no connection whatsoever to the inherent laws of nature. The concept that a powerful lion instinctively hunts and consumes, while a vulnerable deer inevitably becomes trapped and imprisoned, none of these specific scenarios or natural imperatives actually exist in the context of all human-made traffic laws. So these religions of the world, from this it becomes clear that all of this doesn't belong elsewhere. It's not what nature is. Some people say that only nature exists. And you are promising that after death, I will get justice. If I do get it, I'll be very happy, but I can't believe it because I can't create faith. Very fake. Reason demands faith. This means that they have justification, and you are promising that you will get justice after you die. If I do get it, I'll be very happy, but I can't believe it because I can't create faith. Two very facts. Religion demands faith. This means that if religion is in moderation, not all, but some, it might develop some good qualities in you, but it has this benefit, the same benefit as alcohol, which is used in most medicines, and a survey was conducted in America about longevity. To this very day, if you were to diligently search and ultimately find an individual who has achieved remarkable longevity, someone who has lived a truly extended and fulfilling life, it is highly probable, almost certain in fact, that this person consistently adheres to a very specific and disciplined habit. They consume, with great moderation and mindful intention, only a single glass of a particular beverage. That, in essence, is the profound and simple secret to their enduring vitality and prolonged existence, a practice they have maintained throughout their many years. It grows with help, just like cancer grows, just like alcohol does. There are some people who use it the right way. I'm sure our free ones were very happy, but how many people actually see that? That's how it is in the world, brother. It's just like alcohol. Some people, with careful consideration and strong discipline, use it in the right way. I am quite sure that our esteemed Mufti Sahab is indeed one of those very disciplined and responsible individuals, and I am genuinely very happy and truly understand that. But the critical question remains, how many people actually manage to do that consistently? When you take a comprehensive look at the world around us, there are so many unfortunate disasters and serious problems that arise among them. How many people truly, genuinely like that? Yes, please allow me to provide an answer first.
I'm formally inviting the esteemed Mufti Sahab to join us for this important round of discussion. We eagerly await your crucial rebuttal, which we eagerly await. All right, for this initial round, you will have precisely 7 full minutes to complete the task. Thank you, Javed Sahab. We really enjoyed listening to you. We enjoyed. So let's look at it slightly logically. Yesterday, we had requested Mufti Sahab. Let me also mention. Thank you. So first of all, our respected Javed Sahab referred to the idea that God is perishable, that so many religions have come and gone, some considered Jupiter as God, some considered someone else. I say whoever considered a contingent thing as God considered it wrongly. That was never God in the first place. That faith and belief, this is indeed a comprehensive and rather specific definition of faith that he has meticulously presented here for the very first time. Or rather, please forgive me for my initial misstatement. He is certainly not the first individual to present such a concept. In fact, the renowned and influential Richard Dawkins was actually the first prominent figure to articulate and present it in this particular manner. I know with absolute certainty and complete confidence precisely where this foundational source material originates from. That faith would be correct. And the kind of faith you're talking about that is illogical and has nothing behind it, well, we're on the same page. We don't accept that kind of faith, the kind that has no logic or evidence behind it. We don't accept it. We actually believe in the kind of faith that has logic and evidence behind it. So belief can be right or wrong, whether true belief is correct or true faith is correct, and what is false faith and what is false belief. That's what we're discussing. The second thing he asked is, then what is stupidity? If faith and religion are not stupidity, then what is? Since you're asking about faith, then what is stupidity? I say stupidity is atheism. The reason is that you're walking on a road. You eventually reach that particular place, and once you finally get there, now tell me honestly, would you genuinely say, wow, what an astonishing natural selection? What exact kind of natural selection is this, really? No, this intricate system is precisely and thoughtfully designed. There is indeed a brilliant designer behind it all. Therefore, if there is something truly remarkable, then our insightful teacher wisely said that you were entirely focused on the ball, not at all on the island. Hey, who actually made this island? That's precisely and exactly why I'm giving you a illustrative example of the ball. And the ball itself is also contingent. The island is similarly contingent. Both inherently demand a necessary foundational being. Then he subsequently went on to emphatically state that there is absolutely no inherent justice in nature itself. Rather, we human beings collectively decide what morality truly is. This is what you call a false equivalence. This is a logical philosophy. The example you gave about driving in traffic, that's subjective morality. You can't use subjective morality as an example and impose it on objective morality. Justice is objective morality. If you say that there is no justice in nature, then the absence of justice is natural. So let nature be nature. Then why are we striving so much? That are evil or good. And there are many things that are subjective. What is considered morally right or wrong subjectively, we decide that through social consensus or personal preference. But objective morality, which includes justice, the one he kept repeating, that is objective, not subjective. If you say it's subjective, then my question to you is, can social consensus? The second thing he said was that if you drink 2 packs of alcohol, it doesn't stop there. It increases. This is exactly the case with religion. The second thing he said was that if you drink 2 packs of alcohol, it doesn't stop there. It increases. The same thing happens with religion. If you take 2 packs, it will increase. So this is an example you can put anywhere. That
When you apply this to atheism, when you take 2 packs, I am inviting Jawash Sahab. You have 7 minutes.
Please decide. And I am truly glad that Mushti Sahab has at least openly accepted that there is absolutely no inherent justice in nature. So anything that is not specifically made by human beings is a